Okay, so here we're going to learn how to calculate the percentage that an assignment counts within a category, and then how much that assignment impacts the overall score, so what percentage of the overall it is. So as you can see here, we have three categories with these weights. Now these weights do add up to 50, so those are percentages. And so those correspond to these assignments right here. So we're going to kind of match those up and kind of look at things. Now, one thing I want to point out here is this number count becomes very important here, because look right here, this assignment counts twice, and we'll kind of address that as we go. So let's take a look at the first thing here. So let's look at the space survival quiz. Okay, so notice that there is a quiz here and then there's a quiz here, so that's all there is. So there's only two quizzes. So this quiz right here, which counts one time, and this one counts one time. So the space survival quiz counts 1 out of 2 quiz scores. Well, as you know, that is 50%, or we're going to say 0.5. Okay, 0.50 if that makes it easier. So it's 50%. Okay, so that one assignment is 50% of the quiz category. So this is 50% of the quiz category. But what does that do to the overall impact? Well, it's 50.5 or 50%. Okay. Times 0.5 here, because that is the 50 from here, you see. So 0.50 times 0.50 is 0.25. So this counts 25% of the overall. Now that was pretty easy because there's only 2 quizzes. Okay, so, and they're equally distributed among this 50 here. Okay, so that space survival quiz counts 50% of the quiz average and 25% of the overall. And the same is true with this one. So let's take a look at the other ones. Okay, the project is pretty simple because there's only one here. So there's only one project, and the project counts 20%. So this project right here, that assignment counts 100% of the category, and then that counts 20% of the overall, so that's going to be 20% overall. So that's fairly easy to see. But let's take a look at the classwork. Okay, so classwork you see here is worth 30% overall. And this assignment's classwork, 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 classwork. So when we go to calculate these, this classwork here, this assignment, this exit ticket right here, only counts one time. One time out of how many? You would think that maybe initially that you would put just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there's 5 classwork. But since this one counts 2, it's really 1 out of 6. Okay, and if we divided that out, 1 divided by 6 is 0.167, and so we could say then that that is really 17% of that category, so the classwork category. Okay, keep in mind that this 2 means it counts twice within the category. Okay, so that's where we get that 1/6 from. Well, if it's 0.167, and then we're going to take this 30 right here, so that is 0.30, because 30% is 0.30. And then if we multiplied that out, then we would get 0.05, which means that's 5% of the overall. Okay, so that one assignment counts 5% of the overall. Okay, well, if that counts 5% overall, then we know that this one right here is going to count 5%. This one's going to count 5%. This one's going to count 5%. which leaves for this one. And obviously, since that counts twice, that's going to count for 10% of the overall. And it's going to count for really 33%, or 2 out of 6 times. Okay, so that's how we calculate those percentages. We calculate, we get this fraction first, change that to a decimal. So that is what that counts within the category. And then we multiply the category percentage to get the overall. And that is how you decide how much of an impact one single assignment has. So you can evaluate, is that really a good indicator of the student's mastery of those concepts when I allow that grade to have that kind of impact.